man. Igasu, man. Igasu, Happy New Year to you. So, I'm so happy to spend another year with you guys. So proud of what we did last year. We're looking forward to the year coming up. I wish you nothing but success and luck in the coming year. So Happy New Year. I'm sure you've heard it a million times already. It might be too late to even wish it to you, but now you heard it from your friend old Guitkits. This instrument right here, this particular year, is dated 1825. It's celebrating 200 years of existence on this planet. This guitar. Can you believe that? What a milestone. What a milestone. Every single person, most creatures on the planet are dead. There might be some kind of like whales or turtles somewhere that might be older than this fucking thing. Trees, of course. A lot of them pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So, another milestone. And I really got sentimental because I was recently in Europe, as you well know. And in Spain, there's like a Craigslist thing called Mil Anuncios. Now, if you're a guitar collector like myself and you go on Craigslist, you put in guitar, you know what I mean? And Craigslist, and it'll come up every now and then, or antique guitar. Like, I buy antique guitars, and a picture of a beautiful antique guitar. And you click on the ad, and it's like, call me if you want to sell your, antique guitar for $35. And a coupon booklet from McDonald's, The ridiculous nonsense. In Spain, that's like fucking haywire. Like, there's like, for every ad there is for a guitar on Mil Anuncios, there's an ad for a guy collecting guitars. That wasn't always the way. I remember, eBay.es 15 years ago, you could buy a 100-year-old guitar like nothing. Nowadays, it's kind of hard to find really old instruments in Spain because it's become, like, I guess, here we go. Money, money, money. Just like 2 or 3 years ago, I was telling you guys, I think when I bought this instrument right here from Belgium, I was like, you go to European eBay, man, they don't know what they got. In that short 5-year span, it's totally changed, man. Now they're all capitalizing on it. But it got me sentimental in my head, like, I miss my Century instruments. And I came home and I saw this 200-year-old instrument. I played it a little bit, man. I play my Igasu and fine European instruments I have. They're all, what I call Century instruments now. When I first started collecting guitars 30 years ago, a Century instrument meant something different than what it means right now. What it means right now is any instrument that was made before the year 1925, right? Happy New Year, I told you that again, right? But when I started getting it like 30 years ago, it was like instrument made in the 1800s. That's what I meant. Century instrument. That was the point. 1900, anything before 1900, ancient instrument. Anything after was like a modern instrument. You know what I mean? Different thing. But now, it's like blurred lines. What's an ancient instrument? What's a historic instrument? What's a modern instrument? What are all the instruments? But all these questions revolve around, logic of, time. But logic of factor is, when it comes to guitars, American instruments are the gold standard. Like, those are the instruments that are most sought after. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have exceptions, of course. But for the most part, the American instruments are what everybody wants. And it seems, that my collection of Century instruments, old ancient instruments, is kind of bereft of American guitars. I felt like a strang of patriotism going through my veins as soon as I came back from Europe. And I was dancing around my house. I'm proud to be an American. And at least I know I'm free. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I started thinking about Century instruments. It all came together one evening not too long ago on eBay. And I saw. Now, eBay, I have my little keywords to find antique guitars, ancient instruments, things like that. That, people don't generally use, but it sometimes works, you know what I mean? Usually the first, page will have all the best listings, but you got to go through page 5, 6, 7, all the way down the list, man. Because sometimes it's buried, and that was the case this evening. It was very late in the evening. I was like, I looked at his guitar, and it was definitely like, 1870s, 1880s, Boston. It was a John Haynes Excelsior instrument, and those are very well-known guitars because that's like the mother load of, like, you know what I mean? That's like the true origin, people, of manufactured instruments, and many great firms of manufactured instruments trace their way back to this, you know what I mean, company called Oliver Ditson. Well, I'll tell you about Oliver Ditson. So in like 1811, a guy was born in Boston, near the home of Paul Revere. His name was Oliver Ditson. And he went to work in a bookstore. Now, back then, you know, in the early 1800s, you know, same, not too many stuff, not too many, books and anything that was kind of like a book. Just like Martin, right? When he was in New York City, when he started making his little guitars, he rented a space in a bookstore. Because anything musical related was in a bookstore at that point. Just the way it was, because of what I'm about to tell you. Music publishing, right, isn't what we think about today. It's about intellectual property. Back then, music publishing was the, right to print the sheet music of like popular songs. And back then, you know what I mean, Stephen Foster was writing songs. This was a long, long fucking time ago. And this guy, Oliver Ditson, he became like one of the first music publishing, tycoons of like the mid, 1800s. And he did it because he had a great nose for tragedy. Things that were about to fall apart. Companies, he had connections all over the country. He knew what companies were failing, manufacturing companies and music companies. Now, music stores back then, they had both the instruments and the sheet music together. There was no recordings. There was no radio, nothing like that back then. So everybody had to, be able to play music, read music, to know about music, unless you just want to make the shit up yourself. Saying popular music was like whoever was playing it and it was popular in town, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no huge, artists, because, very few people out there even heard of certain songs, It was a different world, trust me, man. So Oliver Ditson, he bought this musical catalog, and he started publishing them out the ass. And he took over the store where he was, originally like just working at. You know what I mean? Oliver Ditson, 1833. He's like, and he like had a sense for everything. He knew. He started distributing instruments, like hooking up manufacturers with like new connections. He was like the master. You know what I'm saying? Right around the Civil War, 1860, he had like Lyons and Healy come to him from Chicago. Hey man, we're about to go broke, man. We need some money, you know what I'm saying? We're fucked up, man. Help us out, man. And Ditson's like, he had this little trick. He's like, you know what? I'm going to buy your company from you, right? You're going to work for me for a small salary, and I'm going to get all the proceeds after a certain year. I make my money back. And then you can buy yourself back in as a partner, or you can buy me out completely. That was his deal. And he did that shit with Lyons and Healy in 1860, saved the company, built the company. And he did the same thing. That was in Chicago. He did the same thing with John Church in Cincinnati. And they're both big, early, manufacturing legend, entities. So he's not a godfather of this stuff. So he's like, I make this shit myself. But he thought the Ditson name was publishing. He didn't want to get tied up with the instruments. He had a partner that was like working, scouting out. He was also like, his name was John Haynes. There was a company called Elias Howe. They're a manufacturer of musical instruments, guitars, drums, all kinds of little bullshit, you know what I'm saying? And I think it was on Congress Street, something like that. I don't remember the actual street. It was like 33 Congress Street or something like that in Boston, right? And he's like, ooh, these guys are about to fail. And he said, hey, Ditson, we're making some money. And my man, Lyon Healy, John Church, let's get into it ourselves, man. Let's buy this fucking company. He's like, yeah. Elias Howell was the name of the company. He's like, you got it, man. So we bought it, and he's like, because it was your idea, it's now called the John Haynes Musical Factory. Good luck. Make some money, bro. Peace be with you. And that's what happened, man. John Haynes fucking took the ball. He ran with it. 1861. You know what I mean? Just built it. And the John Haynes, the company became a distributor and a manufacturer, mostly of drums and guitars, ukuleles, banjolins, that kind of thing. A lot of importing too. Because they were so big and they had so many connections, there were so many, every major city in the United States in the 1800s had like a Ditson-related company, manufacturing or distributing or something within the confines of that particular metropolis. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was, my man, Haynes, he outlived Ditson. And he became president of the whole fucking empire, man. But most of the other people in the company were all like Ditson's kids. You know what I'm saying? And he ran it like the Godfather, you know what I mean? And he made a fortune. And he left a legacy because he published a lot of detailed catalogs of what they were selling. You know what I'm saying? Because they had a lot of different distributors all around the country. And there's a lot of information in there that could be used, you know what I mean, by historians like myself to sort of, you know what I mean, interpret, hey, when did this happen? What kind of instruments was using this? I think the 1883 catalog and the 1891 catalog are both online even. So I'll show you that after we're done talking here, because I like to talk. You know what I mean? It's a new year. I got all kinds of new things to say. So anyway, I got this listing on eBay late night. You know what I mean? I see bid on it. I think it was a bargaining thing, right? Where you can send your best offer. I sent a bullshit offer. And the lady had just like relisted it, or the guy, whoever it was, just relisted it. It's called St. Mary, I think was the seller. And so, yeah, the last person bought it, didn't pay for it. And I did a search, like, how much does this person not pay? You know what I mean? Around $219, I think it was. So I naturally bid $125, and $99 the opening bid. And once somebody actually bid on the instrument, because it was newly listed, you can't do those, you know, best offer things. You know, so I could get this through. Of course, somebody bids on this instrument, you know, so I can just get this because I want this guitar, you know, because it was an Excelsior Haynes model, 1870, loved it. Fucked up though, it's been repainted. There's all kinds of terrible, you know, injuries on it. There's cracks. There's a big, you know what I mean, smash in the sidewall. You know what I mean? There was all kinds of problems. It looked like the bridge had broken off, and a new replacement bridge was put on like 25 years ago. That broke off. This is a guitar that obviously suffered heavily with steel strings, man. Steel strings do not belong on certain instruments. They don't belong anywhere, man. Right? Instruments that are century instruments, unless they're designed specifically for steel strings, should all have nylon strings on or gut strings. Don't put steel strings on an old instrument like that. You're going to break it. This one got broken over and over and over again, primarily because of that. Except for this big gash on the sidewall. That looks like an injury from 100 years ago. But these are just from pictures. I haven't seen the instrument. I'm excited about it. I'm excited just telling you about it. In the new year, I have nothing else to think about. But this long episode, I'm about to show you about the Excelsior Haynes model guitar. Made in America, made in Boston, Massachusetts. Bean Eater Town, man. We're excited, man. I'm going to flip you around. I'm going to bring you right to our learning laboratory, cyberspace, man. You know, I'm not just going to focus it on my phone or some tablet or a computer or something. Since this is all public domain, I'm going to show you some stuff right out of the 1883 catalog about instruments that they made. I don't know which model it is. It's either a 100 through 104. We'll find out as soon as we get it, but I want to show you the catalog, show you what I'm talking about. And then we have another century instrument. All right? So I'm going to flip you around, and we're going to go right to our learning laboratory discussion. One. All right, so here we have the 1883-1884 Haynes & Company catalog, 33 Court Street. I think I might have said Congress Street. This is it, man. And you see, I mean, this has got a lot of pages, 146 pages. It's got everything you could possibly imagine. So we'll go to page 76 because that's the Guitarland extravaganza. That's what we want to talk about, man. Page 70,000,006. Okay. So here it is, man. That guitar right here, this guy, that's the Haynes Excelsior American guitar. And I think mine might be a model 102, just looking at the pictures. 102 or 103. The 103 is very rare. Can't find any photographs of it online. But it's like the 103 is a little bit bigger. It's like the man size parlor guitar. You know what I'm saying? It's the big boy. So here's the top of the line Haynes Excelsior American guitars. Right? And you see that number 100. That's the bottom of the barrel. Right? 101, 102, 103 is a concert. You know, that's where you go from the parlor shape to the concert shape. 104, 105, 6, 7, all the way down to 111. And that's like bigger than, you know what I mean? It's bigger than anything. It's bigger than the Beatles, right? And they got all kinds of other guitars listed here. Bay State guitars was their big thing that Haynes made. That was the one that was
in all the catalogs. That was like their, you know what I'm saying? This is their house brand. Imported guitars you see right here. Look how cheap the imported guitars are compared to the American guitars that Haynes made himself. You know, made in Germany, made in Spain. You know what I'm saying? Here are all the little parts. Isn't that cool? You can see all the different kind of parts. Pear wood, bone, ebony, ivory, guitar bridges, man. Different world, isn't it? Different world, different life. There's the guitar cases, the old end pin, the coffin case. Looks like I have tuning keys just like this on there. This is for the peg guitars. You know, that was still something big in '83. Then we move on to the guitar tuner, right? Guitar strings. See that it has steel strings in there. Then we got into harmonica. So Haynes, he was the big man, you know, with a big catalog. He ran the company until like 1910, right before around the time he died, 1907, something like that. But in 1904, he got rid of his own name and he turned it all back, you know, to the original. Because the family, you know, Oliver Ditson's family, you know, they were pretty much running the show, everything else. So he put everything back in the Ditson company. They did not make it through the Depression, you know what I'm saying? And that was it, man. That was the Depression was really a depressing time for Oliver Ditson. All kinds of stuff you can get out of the catalog, man. All kinds of fun. What a great, you know, little trip we're going to have. I talked to my man. I think it's a dude because that's the way he's emailed. We will find out. He says that he's got a place around here where I live and he's going to drop the guitar off to me or have me pick it up at his place. I don't really know what he wants to do. But as soon as I get it, I'm going to show it to you. I'm very excited about this. And we're going to look at it together. Right? Probably 102 or 103. That's my guess.
So there it is, man. This is the rare model 103, man. Serial number 7100 on the nipple, man. That's a cool serial number to have. 103. It's like the man-size parlor guitar. It's like a full-size, regular instrument. Oddly, it's the rarest one. You know, no pictures, available online of this particular model. Ugh, steel strings, they will come off as soon as we're done talking right here. I just want you to see it as I fucking saw it for the first time. Picked it up off this guy, town over. Certainly a character, you know. And he started like talking about all these auctions he's going to, and I saw inside his truck he's got all kinds of crazy, you know, collectibles and knick-knack paddywhack. See this damage to the top here? Some serious damage. Looks like Attack of the Angry Girlfriend 170 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Looks like he tried to refinish it in the 20s or something like that, you know. A dirty piece of sandpaper. And the dirt just collected in there. And then they refinished over the dirt. And this was restored, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. For a long time, you can tell it had a trapeze. You see right here. The footprint of like a 1920s trapeze tailpiece. See the holes. Original end pin though, and the tuners are all intact. Man, the tuners are there, they work. You know what I'm saying? That's a godsend. Missing tuners on or broken tuners on a antique parlor guitar is always a crying shame. So the rare model 103, man, I'm so excited about this. This is some serious problem here. But I press down on it and it pretty much disappears when you press it at the right angle. So we can glue that down. We'll get these strings off there immediately. Take a look inside. See what needs to be done. Right? We got some damage here. We definitely got to refinish the top. You know, it's got the original finish back and sides, which are rosewood, mahogany neck. Great instrument. It's got the pyramid V neck, you know what I'm saying? Got a pyramid bridge on order. That's the original bridge, as you remember from the manual I just showed you. I believe that the original model had rosewood pins with like pearloid, dots. So we'll get a set of them. Interestingly enough, the Pyramid Bridge has been in, circulation for over 150 years. It's pretty much the same exact part as it was back then. And for a long time, the Chinese were making it, and they were importing all the rosewood from India, because you can't take it from Brazil anymore, which Indian rosewood's just as good as Brazilian. Sometimes you can't even tell the difference. And they were taking the rosewood and like manufacturing, but now the Chinese are advanced, They're like, you make it for us. So the Indians are now making it under the Chinese command. So all we got to do really is strip off this top and fix a new bridge carefully, clean up some of these, old repairs, put a nice set of Savras 520Bs on here. You know what I'm saying? And then give it a light sanding sealer. Some kind of maybe, I'm thinking like maybe even a urethane sanding sealer after we get down to the bare wood. You know what I mean? Just to protect this fucking thing. I think they originally French polished it with shellac, but I'm looking maybe for a little bit less, you know what I'm saying? Sheen on this bad boy. Sort of blend in with the finish that's already on there. I don't know, We can go either way on this bad boy. So, I'll see you in the laboratory. We'll take off the strings. See what happens with the bridge once we take off the strings. And we'll investigate this old girl together, right? So I'll see you. Ready? Welcome back to the laboratory. This is Dmitri. I take over this area from Italian. He's Russian mafia now. Just for this episode. Hey man, maybe it's not. But welcome to the laboratory anyway. So I got the strings off this old gal. And I was kind of hoping as soon as I took the strings off, the bridge would fall off and we'd all like sing Kumbaya, man. That's not the case though. But I got some fun facts for you, and I'm going to share them for you. You see this, man? See this whole deal here, man? I can tell you exactly what tailpiece was on here for a long time, man. It was a Jackson Goulding tailpiece. You know why I know? Because I have a Jackson Goulding tailpiece from like the 50s. And there it is, man. See this? Even the holes line up. You can see, like, you know what I'm saying? Exactly where it went. You know what I'm saying? Where it went. Jackson Goulding tailpiece. Now, a lot of people, when you see this tailpiece, see even the little nipple, man. It's in there perfect. See, on the internet, people are saying Harmony, K. This is not used by Harmony. Not used by K. It was used by Jackson Goulding. Primarily on their JG guitars and more widely on Chris Adjustomatic guitars. The Adjustomatic was their thing. We talked about JG recently in the past. Interesting though, because I've seen this piece used to restore other guitars. Check this, man. Here's a 1860s guitar. The same shit, man. I don't know exactly what they're using as a bridge platform, but something weird going on there, man. But that's the part, man. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's the piss, man. Check this, man. Here's a Puerto Rican Quattro, old as hell. See that, man? You see what it has on it? I'm telling you. That's what it used. So now you know, man. We're going to try to obliterate any signs and tales of that ever having been there, just so you know, man. So we're going to take this off, but not yet. We got other pressing things. First thing I want to do is I want to glue this fucking guy back together. I want to see that little crack, man. Now if you put a little bit of weight on this guy from this way, and it goes down and it's like perfectly sealed. So I want to pump a lot of glue. You know what I mean? Very carefully clamp this guy up. Let it set for a day or two before we continue with our grotesque exercises to bring back the beauty of Haynes, man. The mad girlfriend in the pioneer days. You know what I'm saying? What would a woman take away from you? You fuck up your guitar, right? You didn't have no phone, you know what I'm saying? I seen that girl looking at your guitar in church. Now I'm gonna fuck it up so she don't look at it so pretty like. She won't look at my guitar. She's looking at the big bowls I got in my jacket. I got a loaded gun. So let's get this guy clamped up. I'm real excited about this. I love me a Century guitar. See you one. Alright, so we got this guy clamped. It's kind of like debating myself, like, is this it? Is this perfect? Is this perfect? And like one side was a little bit too flush, and then the other side wasn't correct, and I just went on forever pushing it and sort of finagling it into the right location. I can't even really see it. So that's good. We're gonna let this clamp and just fucking sit around. Carefully. It's resting like a fucking kingly instrument. Like in the Pharaoh's tomb, bro. This is like fucking being treated like a goddamn fucking relic. Let's let it set for about, a week. You know what I'm saying? There's no rush, man. You know what I'm saying? This kind of stuff doesn't grow on trees, man. This is like a fucking, museum piece. See you in due time, my people. Dootin. Alright, so we let it set for a good 8-9 days. We had a lot doing, man. Had a lot doing. So we know this thing is structurally solid now, so that's a good thing. So now, next thing I want to deal with is removing this bridge. Now I stuck my hand underneath. There's really not too much wood happening under there, man. Not too much wood happening, man. So I got a more or less new razor blade, and I want to carefully sort of work it in the edges here. Very, very carefully. I don't want to damage any of that wood that's under there, because there's going to be some parts of this which are going to be exposed, man. Who knew? We're going to sand off the top. Surprise, surprise. So let's carefully get to work on that. Might take a day or 2, 3 days. I don't want to do it carefully. See that. Alright, so we don't really have too much luck loosening this, because this is glued on with some modern adhesive that's like stronger than, Superman. So I'm boiling up a carafe of water. I'm going to put it in a freezer bag. Just going to set it on top of here for a half hour or so. Try to loosen up that glue somehow. So make it a little easier. It's just not coming, man. Not coming up, man. Not coming up. Alright. Let's let that set a while, partner. See what I'm saying, man? Do you see the means and the ways? It's very, very hot. Very, very hot. See in a little while, see if it worked. Did you see that, man? Mission accomplished, America. You know what I'm saying? No damage at all to the wood. Minimal sort of scratches. A couple little tiny scratches I put on there, but we're going to strip the top, so they're really no big deal. Came off. No problem. What we used, essentially, I took this old Mr. Miyagi wood carving kit here. I took this particular piece right here, which was always sharpened to a fine point. And I had another, like a Dollar Tree version of that, which I also sort of used. And what we did was I took this old, X-Acto knife assembly apart, and I took this, this length of blade, which is flat, sharpened up real good on a sharpening stone, so it was just ultimate, you know what I'm saying? I could cut the enemy finger right off, you know what I'm saying? It was extremely, extremely sharp. And we just sort of laid this thing out like as a bed underneath it, you know what I'm saying? And just slowly worked our way, prying on each side with these, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We were prying it, very, very carefully and calmly. Just working this, you know what I mean, all the way down. Just cutting the glue as we went. And we were just cut the glue with nothing else, you know what I'm saying? Everything else was, you know what I'm saying, problems of somebody else. I didn't make any new problems on this, man. Perfectly removed. So, now let's begin to remove this finish on the top of this instrument, man. We need to do it. Has to be done. A little bit of sandpaper. 200. Maybe some, high test nail polish remover. Acetone, you know what I'm saying? Just, carefully up to this line, man. Right where this binding is, we want to stop. We don't want to go over this particular binding, man. We want to keep as much of the, finish on the sides unchecked. And, another thing I noticed when we were heating it up, this thing became a little loose again. This old ass fucking glue from 100 years ago. From that getting bashed in on the side, so I can sort of shape it in the correct sort of curve when we're done stripping the top off, man. thinking of doing that first, but man, you know what I'm saying. Let's do the top, man. So I'll see you when we're starting to strip it off, and I'll give you a little incidental updates as we go, man. Wood's very coarse, very curvy. You know what I'm saying? It's a very sort of, you know what I'm saying, old guitar. See you in a minute. So we got the first quarter panel done. Look at that. A little spot by spot, man. Essentially, we start off the game, loosen it up with this block. You know what I'm saying? Keeping him clean with this block. Because we don't, you know, this is a wet dry. We don't want any water involved on the thing. Then we got some eye tests, 100% acetone, which we're applying with a, you can't see it now, but this was a Magic Erase sponge. And we're doing that in between different blocks. You know what I mean? I got a fine block, and we got this a garnet paper, which is, I believe, a 50, yep, 50 garnet, and 150 fine, you know what I mean, just to keep things in check. And it's coming out perfectly, man, just slowly but surely. Right? So I'll see you when it's pretty much all done, man, because you see how I'm doing it, right? You see how I'm doing it, Tony? I'm doing it well. See, when we're done, we're done. Fucking done now. Hey, man. Down to bare wood. Sanded down to the fine grit of 400. You know what I'm saying? Fine 400 grit. Beautiful, man. There's absolutely no signs of all that crazy drum and all that. All those crazy deep ass indentations. The problem I had with that girl I dated back in the 90s, man. 1890s. The gay 90s. That's what it was known as, man. You look that shit up in the fucking encyclopedia, man. Encyclopedia Britannica. So we have all kinds of sawdust every fucking where, people. Everywhere. It's just inhabiting our whole beings of sawdust. It's everywhere, man. Let's get this all cleaned up, man. Cleaned up, and we'll move on to our next mode of operation. Alright, so we got a clean area now. Clean area to work, man. So let's continue getting this guy structurally 1000%. This thing has been rattling around. So let's pump this full of glue. Then we got to clamp it here and here. Be right back at you, and that's been accomplished. My good brethrens and sisterins. Alright, so we got the pipe clamp across. A little tiny piece of wood. Hot glue gunned right in there. Right below the crack. So it keeps it sort of where it should. And we get these guys keeping it together like a sandwich, right? Right. Let's let this set overnight. Take it off. See what happened. Ready? Set. Go. Alright, so it's the next day. Let's pop these clamps off and see what happened. Alright, so it's level again. It's perfect. It's not rattling around. I'm going to still keep pumping glue into it. You know, there's lots of, 100-year-old glue sort of hanging around this to indicate this has been here a long time. I'm not really going to mess with it too much because I don't want to mess up the finish. You know what I'm saying? It's there. No way I can hide the fact that happened. But we'll pump some glue into that crack just to seal the deal. Here, there's that little crack that runs through the back, man. So it's was a little seam, and this seam came loose and possibly added some glue to it. You can see there's glue sticking out. It's a real thick bead of it. So I'm going to take a little razor blade, which has been taped off to keep the edges from messing up the lacquer. And we're going to just go up and down this back here to sort of level that out. Let's level it out there, Charles. See you in a minute. So we got all the glue and stuff off the, crown of this little inner seam here. Put some wood glue in there. We're going to pump it in there real good. And we're going to put a clamp here because it kind of slightly rides up here a little bit. Seems like it's kind of already set, but we'll put a little bit of, pressure on there to sort of bend it back in. Ready? I'll show you that. 1, 2. All right. So we got it level. We got it even. There's some fresh, strong, clear drying glue. It's going to cure in a couple hours, right? So let's just wait for that to happen. And I'll see you then. Alright, so it's been about 12 hours. Let's unclamp it and just continue to pump glue in this. You know what I'm saying? We'll continue it. I'm still putting some in here too. Keep putting glue into this guitar. We'll see in a little bit. Alright, so we spent a good day and a half just pumping glue into it slowly, letting it dry. In this one too here. I'm confident that we've done what we can to make sure these are, it feels semi solid, you know what I mean? There's a little bit like knockback right there, but it's definitely structurally sound. So here we are, man. What's next? Well, these frets right here, I don't know if you can see it, but they've been ground down to the pulp. They're the original frets, not much left of them, and I want to keep them, of course. Now, all notes rang strong and true when we had the guitar assembled. That's pretty much at the same action and level we will reassemble it at, so I don't think there's any other fret problems here. So let's try to just reshape these guys just to get a better sort of, sibilance. We got the old fret file. Let's try to use just the fine side. Make the fine side and leave me loose. So then after we're done with that fret job, what we're going to do is we're just going to take a piece of steel wool with some mineral oil to clean it out, man. So I'll see when we're all greased up and reshaped slightly. We don't want to take too much off of these frets at all. Alright, so we're all greased down, man. Got some nice shape to those frets now. They're not just like benches anymore. They're like humps, man. Hey, man, I can't hump. It's great. So, I do have a set of these. I don't really use them that often, but in this case, they were actually, even in their thin shape, they're too high to even service the frets, because these frets are ground down to nothing. I couldn't even get any meat of the frets with these guys on. I was like, maybe I'll use them because it's a fine old guitar. I rarely use them. I didn't use them anyway. Got the mineral oil and the steel wool. Right, just grease that guy up. Frets look great. So I'm going to take it a step further, just get like a beautiful tone out of these. This is a pack of lens cleaning papers, lens paper that Dr. Patillo gave me many years ago. He said, always, you know what I mean, the last thing you want to treat the frets with is a fine grade, lens paper. And he had all kinds of different samples of stuff. I said, oh. He's like, you can clean your glasses with it too. You can clean yours, you know what I mean? All stuff, microscope lenses and stuff. I was like, oh, really? I'm not going to really clean any microscope lenses with it, but I will clean my glasses with it, yeah. It's great stuff. This is still, you know what I mean, the same packet. There's originally 2 folios of 25, and now there's like one thick 25, and there's one with like 8 or 9 left. I only use it on special occasions, man. This is a special occasion. Let's get all special. We're going to do it while it's greased up right now. Right this minute. Next time I see you, we'll be how all the grease wiped off, man. You'll see the improvement. And there it is, man. All wiped down. The frets are all real shiny. Real smooth. 1,000,000% satisfied. So let's start working on some other cosmetic trips here, man. Here's a 1,000,000-year-old repair that was done on this instrument. This fine old instrument. Now, this side looks pretty good as far as, you know what I mean, wood continuity. This side, you can see there was like a little crack here, and it's filled in with some stuff. It's pretty level, but there's, you know what I mean, definitely there's a little line here. So we want to try to refine the line, man. We're going to try to get rid of it by mixing up some acrylic paint to exactly match the color of this wood. Sort of, you know what I mean, get rid of those lines altogether. This little blob here and this thing over here. You want to obliterate them, man. I got a fine line. Very fine, like fucking needle brush, man. Never use, man. Like a virgin. Right? So, let's get to work, man. Let's get to work, William. Why not? Oh, here it is, man. Look at that. It's fantastical. Mix in some brown and some red just to get the correct fade, you know what I'm saying? Get it perfect. We got it, though. We got it. Like zero disruption of the wood, man. So we're going to let that dry. Right? You can't see that line at all anymore. It looks pretty natural because the paint is sort of like the same kind of. It's just cool, man. Let's let this dry in a little while. Then we're going to take this line and we're going to bring him down to where he lives. Isn't that friendly? It is friendly. You want to go where you live? Well, let's just wait a while. Wait a while, y'all. We'll be right back. All right, it's dried out. Hey, man, it took me a couple months to get dried out, man. Now we're going to try to reproduce this little, line, man. So what we're going to do, take a piece of plastic, just regular little plastic. You're going to put it over a section of the line, not too far from the edge of this piece of plastic. We're going to take a very fine line, ultra fine, ultra thin point. We're just going to trace that on this guy, and I'll see if that burnt. Right? Don't burn at me, man. Mm-hmm. Right? Right, we go along it, man. It's the right sort of thing, man. So now we're going to cut it out carefully. Cut it out and cut it around, man. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so now we carefully cut out that little groove with these old Fiskars scissors that are extremely sharp, man. And we're going to have to trim this down even further to get, you know what I mean? Pull that piece up, you know what I'm saying? And cut him off with an X-Acto knife. Hey, man. You got knifed in the subway, man. Alright, so now the template will actually fit on both sides. So it goes all the way down to the wood here. From there. And on this side, it would just flip it around. Goes all the way down on that side. So we're going to take this mechanical pencil, very, very fine point one, and we're going to trace them on there just so we have our boundary. Ready, set, go. All right. So it's all done up fancy like. If you look real close at these rosettes here, they sort of have like a texture to them. And I sort of made like a false texture on the wood using the pencil tip. Just to sort of, you know what I mean, make it look like it was really like inlay. But it's slightly different color because it's just like regular pencil. So what I'm going to do, man, I'm going to take that same old needle brush we used before. I got some old black acrylic. We're just going to very carefully sort of just color that in. Color my world, William. Come on, let's do it on Wednesday. Yeah, that's somewhat convincing, you know what I'm saying? Someone's going to be like checking it out. Hey, man. Especially when I think I'm going to French polish it with some yellow shellac. I think it'll cover that up nicely. So, a little crack right here, man. We're just sort of doing it part by part. See this crack? I didn't notice that, right? I'm going to put a little bit, pump a little glue in there right now, son. Let's do that right now. There's some second spare. Alright, so it dried out. Kind of bummed out. Like water discolored the wood. I couldn't like get it back to like regular. Like a little like discoloration there. It's kind of a bummer, man. Kind of a bummer. So let's keep on the cosmetic trip. Crap here, man. It's like a old like elephant epoxy glue from the 1800s, man. There's this brand called Elephant, I think it was called. They made all kinds of glues and epoxy. That looks like what it is, man. Let's try to scrape that shit off. Okay? There it is, man. Looking good. A little disturbance in the French polish, but I mean, we don't have too much to cry about now. We took a razor blade, got most of it off with that. Taped the edges off, of course. Only as big as the widest it needs to be, right? And then we got a little tiny piece of quadruple zero steel wool on it, man. It's sort of very, very ginger on that. And then a 3000 little tiny snippet of 3000, which we wet sanded the rest off of. So we're looking good, man. One thing I'm looking at, though, man, I'm looking at these two holes, man. I'm looking at these 17 million holes here. I'm looking at this, man. I'm also looking at this, man. Missing binding here. Now, I have wooden binding. I can just sort of put some wood in there, man. It'll be alright. But it'd be kind of a pain to match that up. You know, shape and all that other shit. So, I was thinking to myself, man,
Why don't I just fill this with Bondo? These guys with Bondo. This huge thing that when we had the first bridge snap off. You know what I mean? And these little holes. Well, let's fill them all with Bondo. Hey, let's do that now. Come along with me. Right along. Alright, so we got the little problem areas taped off. We don't want to get too much Bondo in this. We don't have to. Got the Bondo and all our little accoutrements and everything all ready to go. We're going to try to do this quickly. Got a piece of tape here blocking those holes, if you can see in there. You see in there? What do you see? You see it? I don't want any Bondo dripping down, so it's all taped off. Okay, so it's unseasonably mild today. Let's get this guy all Bondoed out. There it is, man. Mess, but we did what we needed to do. It's a good thing. Okay, not bad. So let's let it set out here just for a little tiny bit. We don't want, you know what I mean, this wood, you know, bare as it is, exposed out too long. You know what I'm saying, man? Not a good idea. Right, and I'll see you back downstairs. We're back in the laboratory. So, it looks kind of sloppy right now. I know you'd like to judge. You know what I'm saying? Judge away right now. We're going to sand it down a little bit here and there. Wipe it down. We're going to use this just with water. You don't use no alcohol. So, ruin the shellac, right? My shellac, man. I'll put shellac in my beard. I'll see when we're all cleaned up. We're like, ooh, now it's looking sprickly. Yeah, that's almost borderline artwork, man. I even like made a little lip over here. I mean, it's like absolutely perfect. The Ray Charles test, you can't even feel a difference between one side and the other. This was missing binding. That's not only missing binding, but I reproduced the little tiny lip, this little lip here. See that? And I even did it over on this side too. See that, man? I don't know if you feel the same. This is the part we're worried about really here. Totally, I can't even tell where. I can't tell where the sky starts and the land begins, Janine. And then we got this shit over here. The hardest thing to sort of surface, you know what I'm saying, will be this one. Because that's one of the 3 different counties. That's my jurisdiction. That's Boris's. And this over here, that's Big Teddy. You don't want to get a charge of Big Teddy, man. You can charge Adam. Look at this. So close. You know what I mean? We just made it in there. We could probably use the same shade that we mixed for this. You know what I'm saying? For that one. So, that's the first one we're going to do, right? And we'll do this side. So the first one we should do is the yellow right in the middle here, right? Then we do this one, and then we do the black at the end. So that's the plan, man. I've just made it with you guys, and we've done it together. So we're going to paint just this area right here, this, and those 2 things. Mask it out, man. Mask. I want to live forever. I want to live. Presented to you. Look at that. Look at that. You know what I'm saying? Look at it. When you're back here. Especially, I want you to look at this one. Look at that. You see that? Right. Exactly. Exactly. So let's let this dry out, man. Old Freddy's got to go rehab and get dried out. Look at all the mess we made. Ran out of toilet paper again, man. I'm sorry. You got a tissue I can borrow? Here, let me get that for you. Bottle 70%. We're going to talk about alcohol a little bit. Just a little bit, friends. Look at all them different shades, man. Just kept pulling them off the shelf, man. Maybe this one. But yeah, we got the tone, man. We got the vibe. We got everything. I got this pain in my heart. So I'll see you when this is all dried out. And then we're going to talk about this old fickle friend. Right? This fickle friend. See you in 2 seconds. Alright, so we're well dried and tried, man. Everything's all set. So it's time to talk about the bridge, man. Like a bridge. I bought not just one off of AliExpress, but it came 2 for $14. And although they're both rosewood and they came in the same pack, look like they're from totally different wood. This one's a lot more red. This one's more of a green. A little darker, you know. So,
despite this looks like actually like a really nice like Brazilian rosewood, to be honest with you. I know the Chinese are a little bit shady. It might even be. Who knows, man? But this is the one I want to use because it's darker. It looks, a little bit more close to stock. Now these original ones, you know what I mean? They had a little bit thinner than what we have. But this guy, if you put him where he needs to be, he pretty much covers up totally all the mess and problems. When finished, we'll see no problems. I was even thinking of shaving this guy back a little bit, to make him fit in the original footprint. And then I was like, well, we're going to have all this mess exposed. And the reason a lot of these failed, I see a lot of them have been replaced over the years, is because it probably was too thin, the footing. So it's good to have a thicker one. But we do have to do some modifications to this old gal. And I'll show you why. This is the one that we pulled off. This is our guy right here. Right? Now this one, remember, the action was almost perfect. Almost perfect, people. And I'll show you something. Look at the profile of this pyramid bridge. It's much higher. Much higher than this guy. And this is the saddle that came in this guy. So we have to shave this guy down the middle. If you look at an original Haynes pyramid bridge, you'll see that it's sort of just like smooth out in the middle. It's no like raised thing. But this is very similar to a bridge that I have on a guitar made in America in 1860. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably right in the right way. So we have to pretty much sand this down, and we can use this as a guide. Because if we put this in there right now, it pretty much just sinks right down to the bottom. It's down to the bottom, man. If we used it, we wouldn't even be able to, you know what I mean? Because it's underneath the surface. So we got to sand this middle part out until we put this guy in there and he stands up and strings can cross him over. How are we going to do that? Well, I used to have a 3-inch sanding station. Unfortunately, it broke. I have a 4-inch now, but that's a little bit too wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 2x4, right? I'm going to take one of these belts out of here. It's the 2-pack, right? We'll lay it out over the 2x4, right? And I'm just going to sand away until this guy is abreast of his situation. 2 breasts, man, like I've been saying, right? And then I'll see you that burnt. Lots of sanding to do. All right, so we got it actually a little bit lower than the original. That way, in case the action gets high because of the neck shifting, actually take a little tiny bit off the bottom of this guy and bring the action down a little lower. Hey, man, might as well. So along the journey, we did a lot of sanding and banding, man. Saved all this precious, pure rosewood powder, because we can use that to plug other rosewood holes. A little tiny bit of this and some crazy glue, man. We got like instant rosewood, but it made a big mess. Right where we should be. So right now what we want to do, round off these corners a little bit nicer. It looks all messy. And we can just go ahead and sort of give some steel woolen over the whole sort of bridge piece. You know what I'm saying? Making it look nice for the people. Nice round edges. That's what everything is, supposed to look like these days, man. Even Steven, bro. I'll see you in a minute. There, all the fine tuning, man. All the fine tuning, man. It looks great. Now, I gotta attach this fucking thing now, right? I gotta get this guy on. We want to do it right now while it's still hood on hood before we start finishing. You know what I'm saying? Before we start the finish game. So what I have to do is I have to tape off exactly, you know what I mean, little squares so I know exactly where to place it. Right? And then put some glue on it. And I thought about, well, let's drill out these holes here and use this whole contraption here. And this thing has like screws that come up through the guitar. You know what I mean? You tighten them with the wing bolts. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. I was just thinking this piece of wood that runs behind here is so weak. I don't really want to do that because that's like, you know what I mean? Like using that as leverage. You know what I'm saying? So last October, in the beginning of the month, I featured a Harmony 937, I believe it was, 939, something like that. And it had, you know what I mean, a bridge sort of like this. It had to be attached, classical bridge. And I just used this in conjunction with that. And it worked excellent, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we're going to do it, man. And you see these little piece of wood slots for this. I've put a little piece of like bubble, you know what I'm saying, bubble packaging. It's not really like bubble wrap because it's like this is the other stuff, man. But you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who like left your house for the mailbox in the past 10 years. So we're going to put this guy on, man. We're going to clamp it on. We're going to do a real careful job. We don't want to fuck anything up. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the placement of the bridge. That's the whole deal with the guitar. We fuck this up, you know, we're hang our heads in shame. I see we're all clamped. Alright, so the main clamping is all done. Alright, so let's take this tape off. Alright, and then we'll put those little middle pieces in. And get it all ready for its little cleaned up moments, you know what I'm saying? Want to clean up all that spurges. You know what I mean? Nice for the people, as we used to say. There it is, man. Clamped and cleaned up. You got it cleaned up and clamped there, Sarge. You can still see a little bit of wet glue coming out of there. Yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good, Sarge. What do you want me to do with them now? Right? Let's wait about another day. You know what I'm saying? 2 days, unclamp it, and we'll continue our journey at that point. Peace be with you. Alright, so it's been about 30 hours. Last night, about 4 or 5 hours after we initially clamped it, I reclamped it. I put a new foot on the clamp so it was a little bit stronger, I thought, and I put this guy sort of hold up the clamp in a straight position. So now we're going to unclamp it, and we're going to put some glue just around the perimeter, just to, you know what I mean, seal the deal, you know what I'm saying, people? Seal the deal. So I'll see you at that point. Alright, so we got glue all around the edges. It's already started to sort of dry, which is good. Want to keep the guitar as dry as possible. You have to wipe it off, of course, with water. But I like to keep a hair dryer handy when I'm doing ancient guitars like this. So we're going to let this dry and just set for a couple days and just relax. Okay? And I'll see you at that part. 2, 3. Alright. So it's been a good 5 days. Dry. It's on there tight. The next step really will be to give it some final sort of quick sandings. And then wipe it with a microcloth like this. Get everything off of it. And shellac it, man. Our friend Shellac. Now, the old Bobby G would just be like, here we go, man. Get a little of this guy. Put a little bit of vodka in there. You know what I mean? Get some alcohol back in there. I mean, shellac has a shelf life. You know what I mean? After 3 or 4 years open, it starts getting less. You know what I mean? Especially with Zinsser. And this is what I might go to, really. You know what I mean? I've had this, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years now. Maybe 5 years. I don't even remember, man. It's been a long time. And I've been using it. But it's getting old. And I was thinking, I always sort of like in the back of my mind, I think of all those, shellac snobs on the internet saying you can't use anything more than 1,000%, alcohol, and the water will ruin it. And I always said, well, Zinsser puts water in theirs, you know what I mean, to stop it from drying. And then I was like, you know what I mean? So I was at the swap meet, and I was walking around. This guy had like 2 cases of amber shellac. This is clear. And I was like, wow, man, and they're brand new. He's like, $10 a can. I was like, ooh, you know what I mean? He's like, look, in the store, this will cost you, you know what I mean, $25 now. And I was like, yeah, you're right, man, you're right. And I was like, looking in my pocket, you know what I mean. Didn't have any money. I knew I had some money in the car, and I was gonna do it, you know what I mean. And then he said something. He's like, I got this case 10 years ago. I had it in my garage ever since, and I'm never gonna use it. You know what I mean? Never gonna ever use it. And I got to part with it, so I'm getting rid of it. I got you, man. I'll go get some, money. I was walking back to my car. I'm like, 10 years ago. I know the shellac has a shelf life like 4 or 5 years. Let me check my phone, you know what I mean? And I went back to my car, and I had the money, and I read about it. And I was like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want that. It's 10 years old. And I was like, he's right, though. It is about like $30 a can now, practically, God damn, you know what I mean? This is, you know what I mean? And then I remember a conversation I had with my man at the flea market. And he said, don't ever, if you're going to shellac something, he's like, don't ever get, Zinsser. You want to, you know what I mean, make your own. This is, all commercial paints are designed to never dry. Look at the ingredients right here. You know what I mean? Ethanol, that's pretty much, we know ethanol as Everclear. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what that is.
isopropanol, rubbing alcohol. And then we have this methyl isopropanol ketone, right? And ketone is what keeps it from never drying. It's true, man. It keeps it like nice and, 7 years on the shelf. But it doesn't ever dry your instrument either. And then you have shellac and water, right? Everybody says, don't ever use any alcohol. Well, yeah, they put water straight in this, man. And this is my Italian guitar, my old, this is, you can tell by the label, it's a pretty old instrument, right? And it had a big fucking gash on the side, and I shellacked it and everything, and I put it down, just on some bubble wrap for a month. This is like 7-8 months after I did, the shellac work, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, and I don't know, check the Guitkit archive, man. And just sitting on there for a day, man. There you can see the fucking bubble, This is after I've already, sanded it and, polished it and tried my best. I think I might even re-shellacked it, But I was like, what the fuck? It was a long time. So he was right, man. This old sage at the swap meet was right. Anything made by Rust-Oleum, he said, will never, ever, ever, ever dry, man. And they do that so it stays on your shelf, nice like this. Oh, yeah. You put it on your furniture and shit, Put it on your instruments, it's not going to dry. And I got mad and shit. I was like, I'm going to make my own shellac, right? Fuck these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And I'm big, you see my old videos, man. I've done all kinds of old guitars. And honestly, this is the only one I'm really upset about. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that really pissed me off. I did my guitar, from 1825, 100 years, 200 years ago. You know what I mean? I did that with you guys together. With this and this, and I think it's the same exact thing. And I'm still pleased to, this day, the finish. I also did, I believe, with the English guitar from my long lost relative, right? But I'm still gonna fucking, this is a very, very extremely, like, what can I say? Like light spruce, you know what I'm saying? And I took off a very dark finish from it. But that won't look authentic if I just go over with clear. So I want to make a shellac that's got a little color in it. Now, I got some shellac, like big ass bags of shellac off AliExpress for next to nothing. I think we're looking at like maybe $7 total right here, on my table. And I got about, I think, 100 grams a bag. This is some pure yellow honey shellac, man, and it looks real nice, especially holding up to the light. And you look through it, man. It's beautiful, and it's the real deal Holyfield, man. It's gorgeous. It's gonna be like a nice mellow yellow, white, right, slick, right. And this, the Chinese call this purple shellac. Oh, it's purple. I want to get you like the real deal look. It's really like a amber. In Western civilization, we call this garnet shellac. They call it purple. This garnet is garnet gemstone color is green. You know what I'm saying? So I guess they're more comfortable calling it purple. And I'm not mad at you guys, man. I love dealing with my friends in the East, man. So what are we gonna mix it with? Now this is what generally I probably would mix it with. You know what I mean? But when you see all those snobs on the internet, no. You know what I'm saying? This is probably not the right option. We know that. This will work perfectly. This is from Walmart. It's cost me, I don't know, $2.97 or whatever their fucking little 97 trick is. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to want to look for one that has at least two years of, clearance on it, after you pull the tape off. Because once you open that little seal, it starts sucking in water, and this will go down to, 87%, 86%. You know what I'm saying? Won't be so pure, but it'll do the trick even at 87%. You know what I mean? It'll do the trick. We're going to mix these two together, and we're going to make a special, because this kind of, it's not going to look like purple, trust me. It's just sort of going to give it like a real dark, it's like the darkest shellac. It's the most amber shellac, garnet. And honey is like kind of like a step above clear, the yellow. Right? But I kept thinking about this 91% because there's 50% of the people say it's okay, and like 159% say, no, man, you're crazy, man. The best one is the 99% isopropyl. This is pure, man. Hey, man, this is 100% uncut, man. I'm saying, true, it is the best, man. And people say, oh, where can I get it? Because it's hard to find. You can't get it at Walgreens. You can't get it at CVS. You know who has this on their shelf? In practically every store in the continental United States is Acme. Acme has this like $4.99, and they always have a buy one, get one. Yeah, they do. And here's in the drawer, you know what I'm saying? Buy one, get one. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about, people. You know what I'm saying? Ready to rock and roll. So I have what I need. I need what I have. So what am I going to do? I mean, the general rule, it's about a ½ ounce shellac to a quarter cup of, you know what I mean, alcohol. And, you know what I mean, what we're going to do is we're going to grind it up in a coffee grinder. I didn't have a coffee grinder. I went to the swap meet, and I got this guy, look, brand new in the box. You know what I'm saying? Even the copyright date is, you know what I mean, pretty recent. And it was never open. You know what I mean? It looks like a good one, right? $5, you know what I mean? And that's what I wanted. And I walked right in the swap meet, and there it was, like 2 tables in. The lady's like, $5. I was like, oh, I love you, lady. Look at that. It's a real nice one, too. We're going to put that, you know what I'm saying, half an ounce, man. What? We're ruining it. Oh, let me just take a little piece for myself, man. I don't like brownies, man. So we're going to take it, that powder, right, and get it in one of these little baby jar, man. Baby jar, man. My kids, when they were growing up, little tiny tots, I used to keep all these little things, man. I must still have like 50 of them. They come in handy. You see up on my shelf here, you know what I'm saying? I got all kinds of things mixed up. You know what I'm saying? Probably most of it's all dried out by now. But we're going to put that in here after we've ground it down. You know what I'm saying? We got the scale ready so we can weigh it out, man. I want to get equal dibs on everything, man. I want you to cut bigger than mine, man. You know what I'm saying? Weigh out the exact ½ ounce inside this. So zeroing it out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it's pure, man. Dump it in there. Maybe put a little bit more than we need. You know what I'm saying? Because we might lose a tiny bit in the grinder. You know what I mean? And then we put it back in there. And we're going to put the whole alcohol in there, right? And we're going to get the shell going, man. And I'll get you there after we've done that, right? Pears, man. I love pears. All right, so it's all liquefied, man. It's all, you know what I'm saying, right where it should be. It's not. According to oil, the coffee grinder really takes like a good 2-3 hours off it. This is like a good hour later. It's ready to rock and roll. So we got some paint ghosts ready. Now this deal, what I saw on the internet, he's taking a little like dropper and like put it on a cotton inside the paint ghost, directly on the 100% cotton. These are cotton sheets. They're old cotton sheets, high thread count cotton sheets. And then you got like a little bit of mineral oil in a tray, which we have here, which he dips it in. And he uses kind of a sponge, and we're going to hold it shut with a pipe cleaner. We got a little one for the details on the side here and back by the strap button, right? So we got it taped off. You know, we got final sanding done. We got a little pair of old drawers in there to keep any shellac out. And likewise, we didn't drill these holes because that would just be a reason for shellac to drip into the body, right? Yeah, just thinking ahead, man. We got, you know what I mean, where we want it. We're going to have to be careful. We don't want to drip down the sides. It happens sometimes. Just be careful to get it up quickly. Right, so let's do what we just said we're going to do. Right, let's French polish this motherfucker. And I'll see you when we're done with the first coat. Or as we say, Kurt. Hey, man, Kurt. Huh? Huh? Couldn't have asked for better. First coat. You know what I'm saying? It's already looking correct. Now what I want to do, I want to take a piece of 1500 dry, clean, virgin, never used before, and we want to just go over this very lightly. Just smooth out a couple of the little ticks before we go into coat number 2. All right, and I'll see you at that turn. There we go. Now it's got like a perfect matte finish. Gorgeous shellac matte finish. We could leave it here. You know what I mean? And just enjoy the luster and easily take this off with like 99% alcohol. Come right off. And we'll be back to square one, but we don't want to do that. So we're going to start off things in this proceeding with the one ball, the little guy. We're going to get in good around here, right? And then we're going to take this big boy, add another cotton ball in there and make him a little bit bigger. And we're just going to Give them another last coat. 2 coats is about enough, I think, on this old girl. Don't want to put too much on. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like the matte thing. You know what I mean? We're to go for like a matte satin, I think. Loving it, loving it. I love the feel of it. It's great. So I'll see you after the second Kurt. Hey, you talking about Kurt, man? Thinking about all the times we had together, man. Until that time he told me that he got the package, man. You know what the package is, don't you? So, second coat is dry. I think I'm going to attempt to stop there, man. I kind of like what I'm seeing. I rubbed a lot of shellac into the top of this instrument. And I mean, at least a half of what I prepared. Or maybe a little bit more. I took it all from the top because I didn't want any little beetle butts. You know what I'm saying? I think I did what I wanted to do. I don't want to overdo it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too much in there. Don't just hold it off on disposing of anything until we do the next step. Got a 1500, a new virgin piece cut from the thing. And also a nice piece of brand new 3000 out of the package. Just quick on the 1500. We don't want to really do too much sanding on it. With that grit, we want to really just do a lot of polishing sanding. You know, super polishing. So let's do that right quick. It's good because it's got automatic grease on it, you know what I mean, from the French polish. The mineral Earl, man. Hey, man. Don't knock me till you try me. Then you're gonna buy me. I'll see you after that moment. That's right where I want to be. That's right where I want to stay, man. That's nice. So we did the 1500. You know, once over. I'm saying. And after that, I switched to a piece of quadruple zero steel wool that we just sort of went at all the little shine pockets, you know, and got it all down to like matte standard, right? All over town, like even in our little, remember our little problem spots, man? Do you remember them? Yes. Old memories, right? And after we sort of brought all the matte standards, then we took the 3000 to town and we just beautified it. Till it looked so nice we didn't have to do anything else, right? We got a piece of nice t-shirt, nice cotton. We sort of sopped up as much of that grease as we could, you know what I'm saying? A little mineral Earl. Got it all up, and then we went to these various polishing cloths up to the old woolly mammoth there. Got a nice, you know, pseudo sheen. Once we get that paste wax on this is perfect. You know what I'm saying? And it's done the right way with the right materials, authentic, you know, nice. So let's let it set for, I don't know, 3-4 days. Let's get that Earl all totally dried out, you know what I mean? And then we'll wax it, and we'll start finishing it up, man. Drill some holes in there. A couple other little smalls to do, right? Getting closer. So getting close. All right, so we let it set a spell. And, you know, I'd originally intended on brushing in some paste wax with some steel wool and doing like the matte satin kind of thing on this bad boy. When I see this shine popping through the haze here, I said, you know what, old Bobby G, I bet you can polish this bad boy up and it'll look fucking gorgeous. Shades of 1890 would look great, you know. And I thought about it and I looked at my polishing compound. I haven't gotten a new polishing compound since 2016. I got this at Kmart. It cost me $4.59 in the year 2016. Now, it should look like a fresh tub of cream cheese. This does not look like that. This is nasty. It kind of smells bad. I've been getting away with it by dipping a wet rag in there, sort of like mushing it around. This I don't really want to use on this, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I went out to Advance Auto. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to buy a new polishing compound. Let's do it up. Didn't have any in stock. And the rubbing compound was probably around the same price, $11.99. What the fuck? Wow. And I went to AutoZone. Same deal, man. I checked online. Nothing in Target. Nobody had polishing compound anymore. And no brick and mortar. Target. They all have it on the internet. Amazon will get it to you for $8.33 if you have Prime. A day or two. I want it now, man. I want good, like a nice thing of polishing compound. So I said, you know what? I bet you there's some mom and pops hardware stores that probably have it. And I called around. My first one, bang. And there it was.
I went down there, right? $4.99. You want to take a look at it? Fresh tub of cream cheese. You know what I'm saying? Unfucking fettered with. Gorgeous. Right? For $4.99, bad boy. You know what I'm saying? About the rubbing compound too. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm gonna need this. You don't want to use rubbing compound and shellac, it'll burn right through it. It's really nice with lacquer though. Lacquer and urethane, that's my man. For this, we're gonna stick with this because shellac's real fine. We're gonna polish this bad boy up, right? And I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. We can still shellac over polishing compound. We can't shellac over wax, right? Because that'll look nasty and it won't adhere properly, right? So let's take a look. A lurk. See, we can still do the, you know what I mean? Brush in the, you know what I mean? Do the matte thing if it doesn't look that great, right? Our options are wide open. Let's take a look what it looks like shined up. I'll see you. You know what? You know what? You know what? You see that? Do you see that shine? You see that sheen? Do you feel it, people? Isn't that great? So, yeah, man. Yeah. We're going to start cleaning this very shortly. You just want to we rub this kind of hard. This compound is incredible. You know what I mean? Look at that. Look at it. I remember when I got my first 1860s guitar, 25 years ago, something like that, 20 years ago. Cleaning the old, shellac finish on the front of it, and rubbing it real hard with oil and getting it this shiny again, you know what I mean? It kind of has that reminiscence of that. It looks as the right color and everything, you know what I'm saying? It looks great. You know what I'm saying? You can't beat the real thing. The tone is perfect too, I mean, color-wise. You know what I mean? So let's let it just cool out a little bit, and then we're going to start cleaning the other parts of it. Ready? Alright. So it's been 3 days since I last shellacked this guy. Right? And it's been about 2 days since I last fiddled with it, meaning sanding it, polishing it, and sanding it and polishing and sanding and polishing. So I've admired it quite a few times over the past 48 hours. Come down and looked at it. Before I go to work, after I come home from work, before I go to bed. Early in the morning when I first wake up. And you know what? I'm pretty happy with it. That's why I give it 2 days. So now it's time to clean. You know what I mean? The back of it. You know what I'm saying? Sides of it. With this guy. This is called Furniture Polish. This is 12% kielbasa grease. The lemon flavor of kielbasa. You can eat it. But it might kill you. You could eat this too. Probably won't kill you. Anyway, this is what we call a knockoff. Dollar Tree knockoff for a product called Pledge. Right? Lemon Pledge. And a lot of people say, oh, Bobby G, that's a bad idea. You don't use this on a guitar. Yeah. You use that on any guitar you feel like it. It cleans the shit out of it. And it really preps the wood when you're going to add some, you know what I mean, waxes in a little bit. So let's do that. Let's keep it away from this. Keep it away from this because we already took care of him, right? Get it on here. That's okay. Back of there. Back of here. Here. And our back. Clean all that schmutz off there. That shit and fucking splonzel. Right? There's splonzel all over it. I'll see you when we've been cleansed, brother. Cleansed in the river of Jordan. Alright. So you have it all polished up. It's all sheeny shining now. On the back side as well. See that? It hasn't been that shiny since like 1910, bro. The Titanic was still being built. And that was that shiny. You believe that, man? Anyway, it looks a lot better than it did. The sides were extremely dirty. I got the rag over here. I want to show you the rag. Look at the maxi pad. I'm bleeding. Look. You're gonna have to take me home early. That's the fuck. That's pretty much all from the sides, man. Get dirty sides, bitch. Now it's like totally, the oil from that phony pledge sort of evaporated a little bit, but it's still got like a little sheen, and that works really, really well with this fella right here. Hey, folks. How you been, right? Cleaner wax, man. Because it's from Brazil. Right? That's why it's cleaner than wax, So we're going to put that here. Maybe 2 coats on the side. Nice thick coat on the back there. Back of the neck. Both sides of the head stirk. This part, however, in the front. A friendly front. We'll get the treatment of this. Min wax. It's regular old paste, I used to use like butcher's wax on these old guys, all said and gone, man. But I've kind of found out that butcher's wax is a little too strong for shellac and lower. We don't have too many coats on this. We just lucked out by putting like the perfect amount on to have like, a beautiful, beautiful luster. And not like, this doesn't look like it was, made in China or anything, It's like appropriate. It's appropriate there, Neil. Very appropriate to do that at the table. Women folk have to follow their man. So let's do that, man. Let's apply these 2 waxes as William would, right? And then we'll have a nice shell, because we're going to be manhandling this and drilling these holes in there, like, right? We're going to be jerking around, trying to replace this nut down here, manhandling the piss out of this old girl. So let's come back when we've got it all waxed out. Well, I do say. Well. Yeah. Look at that. The wax just like brought the whole room together, man. Now it kind of looks like a real sort of original finish at first glance, you know what I mean? Doesn't really, it's like seamless. And especially if you look, let me turn the flash off just 1 second to give you a little bit of an emotional look. Like down here especially. Has like a real sort of look of originality, man. It does not look like it was refinished at all. I got a lot of old guitars, man. You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's been like highly polished, highly waxed. An original shellac, man. It really does, man. I'm so proud of myself. So, now we gotta talk about here, man. Right? Let's put the light back on so we can see. I want you to see me knickers, right? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna drill it out? What are we gonna put in there? We need to know what we're gonna put in there before we know how big we've got to drill it out, right? Well, don't fret. So I over-prepared myself for this task. I became quite obsessive over the bridge pins. So come along with me to my special place, and we'll explore the situation together. And we'll answer all your questions about drilling and fulfilling. Well, I definitely went overboard when shopping for these bridge pins on AliExpress. I had a lot of points saved up on my PayPal, over $100. So I was like, fuck it, let's get a whole bunch of different things and see what we like best. This I actually had in the drawer. I was going to use these when I first bought the instrument. They're bone. They have like brass and pearl and abalone inlays. They're real fancy. And these might have existed, something like this might have existed in, that time period, but it would be aftermarket. I wanted stock out of Haynes, baby. You know what I'm saying? So I ordered just like regular, these cocoa wood. Cocoa bola is like a Honduranian rosewood. This is what I wanted, right? You know what I mean? But unfortunately, the company Meguiar off of AliExpress sent me these, man, by accident. These are like unbleached bone. I was, ooh, kind of like that. I was like, this is what I'll use, man. You know what I mean? Cool. Cool accident in life. And I woke up in a cold sweat later that night, and I was like, no, I can't do it. Can't do it. I don't think that they would do that. I don't think that Haynes would do that. So I complained. The next thing I did, I complained. So you sent me the wrong fucking piece. Send me the right piece. And a couple of weeks later, these showed up in the mail. I was like, you know what I mean?
And I seen some pictures by then, you know, and they have the like a regular pearl inlay. It's either like a rosewood or ebony. And I was like, And I had ordered so many different ones, you know. I was like, I don't really remember what I ordered. Let me just see what comes in. You know what I mean? And then these came in. These are also cocoa boulder woods. These only cost $3, and they got just regular, you know, pearl inlays. Like that kind of looks right. You know what I mean? We're looking at the picture. And then these came in the next day, and this is like a darker, you know, Indian rosewood, and it's got like a abalone inlay in it. And I looked on the catalog; they didn't really sell any pins with abalone in there. I don't think. Maybe they did. Maybe I don't remember, but I don't think that was one of their big things on the stock instruments. Abalone was kind of more expensive back in those days. So I was like, you know, there's a sort of rule of thumb to these old instruments as to what bridge pins they use. Is usually the same type of inlay and wood that's in the, you know, strap button. And I have the original strap button. The original tail button on this guy, man, is still in there, man. See that? It's ebony with a regular just pearl shell. You know what I mean? Not abalone. I was like, So that's what I ordered. For some reason, you know, they're both a little bit more expensive. You know what I mean? With just regular pearl shell. You know, like a dark rosewood and like an ebony. But this is the right, you know what I mean? The exact same size inlay, the same exact type of pearl, same exact type of wood. If I shine these up a little bit, I mean, it looks perfect. Excellent job, old Bobby G. So, you know, we lucked out. We found, you know what I mean? We kissed a lot of these slimy ass frogs. We found the fucking dirty ass Prince. I'm not talking about Prince Rogers Nelson. I'm talking about like dirty ass frog. He's not very talented. So we look at this. I'm not talking about Kermit either, man. I'm talking real dirty frogs. I like frogs, man. What's this guy talking about? Let's change this shit. See the metric? This guy's like right between here and here. So it's generally a 5, you know what I mean? That's what we were looking for. I have these Brad Point, you know what I mean, bits. Here's a 5 right here. This is a perfect example, Sonny. That's just what we need to drill out, right? So that's what we're going to do, man. You know what I mean? Let me in. I want to get in, man. I want to get into my new home, man. Let me in. Right? I'll see you on the drill press. We're going to fluff you wide open there, Hainesy. See you then.
Alright, so now we're dealing with the old drill press. Only as exact as you are. You know what I mean? It could be very exact if you're careful. In my case, I got it leaning against this guy right here, and I'm just going to eyeball it, really. How careful I can be. I'll see you when it's done. That means done. Alright, there it is, man. Now what I'm doing, I'm working on widening these guys out perfectly so I can fit this guy in comfortably. You know what I'm saying? Just got to widen the holes. Yeah, the hole's just a little bit wider. This one's already done than these guys. Just taking a little tiny rat tail, loosening things up, and then I'm bringing this guy in and just like jerking him around till he gets to here and just testing this guy out. You know, bang, bang. So let's do that out, man. Do it out, do it in. But it looks nice, man. Just eyeballing it, man. Just eyeballing it. See you in a minute. Yeah. Pretty maids all in a row. And they're in there nice and good. But not too good that it's not going to come out again. You know what I mean? So let's leave that situation down there for a while and talk about this guy, man. Finally get to this guy. Now it looks like old John Haynes, he had like a hardwood dowel. And he sort of flattened the bottom of it, flattened the side of it. Carved some, you know what I mean, string grooves in there and put it on there. And looks what happened here is a couple of these string grooves got a little too low. You can see this one sort of aided in the rosewood, and this one actually had a piece of cardboard shoved on the bottom. And even before that happened, looks like the owner like got a shim going and put it underneath the original nut there. So it looks like the original nut. So what did old Bobby G do? He found a hardwood dowel, right? And he started flattening the bottom of it, flattening the side. Now it's like perfect. So let's try to get this guy, knock this guy off without any kind of damage, and cut this guy out and try to put some grooves into him, right? See if we can do it. Can we do it, friend? I think we can. Let's get rid of you. Out with you. Alright, so the shim and the nut both came off. Unharmed, really. Just used the razor blade. Took it right off. Let's take some of these files and get all this glue off of here, man. Get it off. Get it off. Alright, so it's basically cleaned off now. We got this guy measured out. You know what I mean? We put him here. We put him down. I was like, oh yeah, that's got to be a fine nut. You're a fine nut. So let's get him cut in the old scroll saw. And then we'll get the grooves cut in. Measuring up to this guy. And I'll see when we're all grooved out. 1, 2. Alright, so we got it all replicated out, man. Replicated, graded, man. Not bad. So, as you can see here, they just took like a regular old hardwood dowel and they painted it to make it kind of look like it was made out of rosewood or something. I was thinking originally making it out of rosewood, but let's just, you know, retrace the steps of our ancestors here. So I got some acrylic paints, man. We're just going to paint this guy. I had like some dark bittersweet chocolate, some black. We're just darken the dark up. Painting this guy. We're going to stay away from the bottom and, you know, parts of the side so we can get some good adherence to the instrument. But let's paint it up. I'll see you in a moment. Alright, so we're pretty much all dry. Our magic little paint. Looks good. You know what I'm saying? It's wonderful. But we got to sort of protect it. It's a little bit vulnerable. Just that acrylic on there, man. So we got our friend Mr. Shellac out. Look, we actually used most of that fucking shellac, man. See that? Let's get this magic gray sponge and just sponge it on here in a stingy manner. Not too much, you know what I'm saying? Just enough to get it a little tiny bit sheeny and protected. I'll see it that burnt. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so it's the next day. We put a lot of shellac on that bad boy last night. Like 4 or 5 coats. Right. So we're going to hit it up with some of these finer grade sandpaper that we have. 1500 and 3000. Then switch over to steel wool. Just knock that shine back a little bit, you know. Knock that shine back there, Steven. See you in a minute. And there we go, man. Old and new. Right? Pretty good job. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some crazy glue, right? Super glue. Apply it to the backs and sides of this one. The bottom of this right here. Then we're going to just put it on there real quick and hold it there until it's like set perfectly, you know. I'm just going to pray we do it right, because if we fuck it up, you know what I mean? It's a real pain in the ass to remove it. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be a messy kind of situation. There's like an 85% success rate. But if we succeed, this will be damn near permanent and it will give us a lifetime of enjoyment. So let's just cross our fingers, not literally, and see how we can get this guy attached. Hopefully in a good fashion. 1, 2, 3. All right, so this came out 1000% beautifully. All right, perfectly where it should be. Strings have the correct clearance. You know what I'm saying? On this end, everything is great and gorgeous. So let's put a little tiny bit of wax on it, man, just to protect it. Just to protect it fully from all the elements, right? See you then. That looks like it's a natural effect, man. Looks like we've been in there since birth. Looks like we've been wintering in West Wilmington since Wednesday. Looks like perfect, you know what I mean? There's no signs of it being a fraud, man. So let's talk about this. What are we going to do there, man? Now, I had this in the drawer. I had a couple of these for, you know, different, you know what I mean, things I had purchased in the past. I usually buy like 2 or 3 of them just in case I ever need it again. I figured to myself, well, it pays the same shipping, right? And I thought to myself, you know, if I'm going to whittle it down to that little tiny sliver that I need, I might as well get one that looks a little bit more old. It's got to be bone. So I got one of these from Midwire. Yes, and it was nice, you know what I mean? It was unbleached. You know what I mean? Then I thought about, you know what I mean, this little sliver that I got. Ooh, that's a lot of work, man. That's like a lot of work. And I realized that this isn't plastic. This is bone itself, man. This thing is bought itself. I could probably just use this, man. You know what I'm saying? It was the original. You know, it is what we use as the model, for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? That when we're doing the sanding on this thing, there you go, problem solved, man. It's a real bone nut. And we're able to recycle, man, to upcycle. And these two guys, you know, I mean, it's like a waste of, like, you know, a couple more dollars, man. I think I only paid like $2 or $3 for this anyway. So one day maybe I'll need it, man. We'll be talking about it again. But for now, problem solved. Let's talk about strings, man. Hey, man, let's talk about strings. These ancient guitars, I'm always going to keep recommending these. Made in France. At least it says they're made in France, right? These come in like a packet. Now they come in like a nice box. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of seals and labels and stuff. This I actually got off like a music supply place. I didn't get it from AliExpress. Because I didn't trust it. You know what I mean? Couldn't get it either. They are light tension, man. You know what I'm saying? These are low tension. You know what I'm saying? They're the best thing to put on an instrument of this age. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, really the only thing at this point. I've used so many other things, and I always come back to these, man. So the way to install them into this particular instrument is kind of a pain in the neck, right? We're going to take one of these strings. We're going to tie like a knot at the end of it around a half of a pipe cleaner, right? Right in the middle of it. And then we're going to wrap that around like a little ball. And we're going to take this piece of weed whacker, you know what I mean? Weed whacker, William, right? And we're going to stick it down the hole so we can see it here and grab it. We're going to tape the end of it to this little string and pull it this way. We're going to make like ball ends out of these, like old-fashioned ball ends of the pipe cleaners, man. I'll show you, man. I'll show you. I know you're all wondering what I'm talking about. I wonder what he's talking about, William. It's kind of, I'm wondering about it. So why don't we find out, right? Why don't I set up my camera on a little tripod? I'll show you a demonstration, right? And we'll just go string for string. I'll show you one of them right now. And then I'll do the rest. Not together. Alright, so I have this whole contraption set up. First thing first, worst things worst. We have the end of this string, the knot tied right in the middle of a half piece of pipe cleaner, right? Because here's the other half. And we have it wrapped around so it's sort of a big ball, right? You know what a ball is, right? And then we have this little piece of weed whacker, a wire from a weed whacker, right? Stuck in here. When you stick it in there, because it's a circle, it usually just comes right out. And that's great. And you see here, the ends are taped together with old Scotch tape, right? This is made in Scotchland, man. Butterscotch land, right? So what we're going to do, William, very slowly, we're going to work the wire out. Now we've worked the wire out till it gets this burnt, right? And then we're going to put this here, with the little groove, see the groove side? There's the groove side toward the wire. And we're just going to pull up till we hit the end there, right? Bring it over, string it on up, right? And we're going to do that with not one, not two, not three, but 6 wires until we're all strung up. At that point, we're going to come together at a place we call the glamour shots. There it is, you'll get. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous, really. You know what I'm saying? As far as looks goes, I mean, the finish is almost like original. You know what I'm saying? It looks like so good. You can't see it from where you're standing because you're looking at it like a phone or something. But where I'm standing, man, it's just like almost perfect. Like something's been really, really waxed like a lot. It looks and it blends seamlessly with the original deal, man. You know what I'm saying? This is great, man. So, you know what I'm saying? The bad news is it's not really a great guitar. Doesn't play very well. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, one of them clinkety kind of, not very well sort of
built instruments, you know what I'm saying? It's not made for speed, man. It's not made for sound. It's just sort of made because like nobody had a guitar. But it looks great. As far as like all the accoutrements and shit, man. We got the fucking, the correct color, man. The curtains match the drapes, man. That man, she's a natural brunette, bruh. You know what I'm saying? They call girls with black hair brunettes too. Something else, man. I'm not sure, man. Have to study that, man. So the Haynes, man, 103. You know what I'm saying? It's an old, beautiful instrument. Is it going to become one of my daily drivers? Probably not. Am I happy to own it? Absolutely. You bet. Am I very good? You know what I mean? Like feeling after restoring it. You know what I mean? Think I did my best. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Look at it. This looks like it's real. You know what I mean? Like this finish looks incredible. It really looks great. So let's hear it, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you can look past judgment too, man. You know what I mean? And we can bring in the new year together, right? Holding hands in the stands, right? Come on along. Let's hear it together. Right? And there it is, man. The Haynes Excelsior 103. Rarely photographed, rarely known. At least I rarely known it. You know what I'm saying? I rarely known it. Now I own it. It's a loud instrument. Not bad. It's not that bad. I was expecting it to be like one of my European, you know what I mean, masterpieces. You know? Hey, I don't even know what else to do, man. I just hope you have a good new year, man. I hope you enjoyed my little journey restoring this. It really, really, I mean, look at what it looked like when I got it. And look what it looks like now. What a way to start a year, man. What a way to start the year. I feel so good, man. My head out the sunroof, and I thought you know one thing on my mind. I'm stuck on the thought you, and then about you, and one thing down more. That's the only thing I really know, man. I hear it on the radio. All over the world, I heard it on the radio. Everywhere I went. Everywhere I went, I had hearing it. And I said, oh, it's international. Peace be with you. Another letdown. There it is, man. Old and new, man. Century instrument. Even if I was talking about a century instrument, what I considered back when I started collecting guitars, man.